Hey, and welcome to the VoyMonk video voiceover. This is going to be on December 11th. You know, Christmas is coming up here shortly, and I think there's going to be a lot going on in the next few weeks, as far as this being, of course, the last few weeks of the year as well. And I just got done not too long ago watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. My mom really loves the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The thing is, there are a lot of commercials, man. And I kind of kept remembering that, so we have Peacock, and I thought, well, is it possible to watch this on Peacock without the commercials? And so far from what I've done, a search on Google, it almost seems like it's a fat chance. Although the thing that's cool about YouTube is that the great things that happen on here, I mean, you can do so many different things, but because people broadcast their content, because people do vlogs, because people do all kinds of things, it's really cool to find people that were actually live streaming or making videos of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And because of this, me and my mom were actually able to watch it in a very real way, in terms of the traditional way we have, at least the last couple of years, which is on NBC. And, you know, if you'd kind of like the floats and you kind of like, I don't know, to maybe go 10 minutes without hearing an ad about some kind of medical cream or some product that there's just no waiting until Black Friday to buy. And the funny thing is that I think last year, I think CBS just gave up. I don't think they want to do any Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade stuff anymore. Maybe it's because they didn't really have anything like as far as football, because that's what's on here. Last year they tried to do it. It was weird because I wasn't necessarily sure if the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was a thing that was like, you know, they had an agreement with NBC or how that all worked out. But last year, I know that CBS also did it. But the really weird thing is that me and my mom loves the parade, and we recorded both. And then going back and watching it, NBC had kind of what they always had with Al Roker and Jimmy Fallon and Hoda, and I can't remember the name of the other woman, but they had certain things that they would show, and then on CBS, it seemed as though they would get some of the same floats, some of the same balloons, but then they would switch off to maybe a different, I'm trying to think, a remote, that's what they would call it in radio, but a different location for something else, and then they would switch back to the parade. But I would say it was still very much as commercialized, but maybe not as many commercials, but there were still a lot of commercials. And yeah, I just thought, okay, and I mean, it's not like you're watching a movie or anything like that, so it's not really, jeopardizing the plot or really getting you discombobulated, getting you sucked out of being into a show or a film. But I don't know, man. As a kid, I don't remember watching it on TV all that much either, but I don't know. It just seems like it's a lot of commercials. And I'm not complaining about that. I mean, obviously they got to pay for it somehow, but I don't know if it's really that enjoyable. It kind of reminded me of the Olympics. I did watch the Olympics back in the 80s and 90s, and it wasn't nearly as commercialized as it is now, where like literally every 5 minutes you have to have a commercial. And I don't know, I'm starting to think that's where I made some predictions about the year coming up in 2025 about the streaming services, and of course the big three: ABC, NBC, CBS, and probably even Fox too, over the air channels changing to where, and maybe it's not as much of a change, maybe it's just what I'm noticing because I'm experiencing content in a much different way than I used to, and that I definitely remember commercials back in the 80s and 90s. I just don't necessarily remember them being on as often, as long, or as frequent in programming. It really seems like you almost can't get through anything without there being some kind of ad about medicine, health insurance, a car, a telephone or a cell phone, and a Toyota. I I think that's pretty much it. You would think there was a lot of commercials, but ultimately it almost seems like it's like maybe five or six, but it's the same five or six, just run a different way. Or Capital One, what's in your wallet? And like I said, I'm not complaining because obviously they have to make money, and they're competing for viewers against everything, right? TikTok, uh, video games. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people can do besides sit down and watch the parade. But the funny thing, I would say the problem is that when it comes to it, it's like the question is that why aren't people watching television? Why are they leaving? Well, maybe it has to do with some of the things that I've already touched upon, which is I don't think a lot of people want to watch a program, even if it's not a movie or TV like the Olympics, where every 5 minutes it's like, man, another commercial that I just saw 5 minutes ago. And I realized they're trying to survive. And the streaming services, some of their cheapest plans now include commercials, which, along with trying to get away from cable, seem to be kind of one of the reasons for going to like streaming services like Netflix and stuff at first. So, personally, me, I I don't have a whole bunch of streaming services because they're super expensive now. I can say that. It's I'd say if you could invest in maybe one or two that for your content and entertainment dollars or whatever, as far as whatnot, that's pretty much it. I think there's the revolving subscription way of doing things too, where you watch something for a month and you cancel it and you try something else and then you cancel it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm almost betting you anything, coming in this new year, they'll probably find a way to introduce some kind of like cancel your subscription fee. So in case you do come back, there'll probably be some kind of either penalty for coming back, or there might be something for if you don't keep the service. I'm betting that might be something that'll be introduced at some point. But for me, if I'm subscribing to something, I usually am going to go with something that's not going to have any commercials at all, because I'll use Paramount Plus as an example. The There are a lot of commercials on their commercial included plan. So if you think they got a Black Friday sale, I think like a few of them where you can get their basic commercial subscription plan for like $20 for the entire year, that might seem okay, but when you're kind of getting the for the most part extra channel for the most part that you're paying for in order to watch commercials much in the same way that you can already do with, say, for example, CBS, NBC, and ABC. So I would say unless you're actually subscribing to, say, like Paramount Plus, then $20 and then the commercials and then having access to certain programs like the Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I love. And I would definitely sit through commercials to watch that, although I'd much rather not. So, yeah, it's really hard to kind of get away from commercials. I mean, even in video games, if I'm not mistaken, Xbox and Sony, I think some of the changes that they're looking to make is to go. I think one of them is looking. I think it might be Xbox going away from the consoles and just going with the subscription gaming thing, and along with it, and I think Sony. I think they might still be making consoles, but for the most part, I think they're trying to go towards something similar to what Xbox is doing. I'm betting they'll probably wait until Xbox officially comes up with something. And then I think Sony, like any good competitor, will probably adapt accordingly. But what I think is probably going to happen is that even with video games, there's going to be some type of tiered, probably subscription service where you can get commercials even in your video games, I'm guessing, in some way. Which, I might be behind the times. Maybe that's already a thing. I think there are some platforms, I believe, on the computer and PC that might already have something like that. I would say handheld games are really just kind of commercial vending machines. I mean, you watch a commercial and then you get to play whatever couple of minutes until the next one. I don't know. For me, I find that kind of maddening. But I'm sure they'll find a way to work around it. But yeah, like I said, going into this Christmas season, I mentioned about this Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but the oversaturation of commercialization, which, like I said, it is what it is. They got to pay the bills. It's part of what we do. And I'm not saying it's all bad or, negative or anything like that. It's just that it seems as if, especially going into the holidays, especially with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it was probably, along with everything that I said, probably not the greatest in terms of marketing and really knowing your audience, right? Catering to what people want and what people are willing to pay for it. Because I'll be honest, I probably would have paid a couple bucks to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade without commercials. I don't have any money, but I'm saying to you, Peacock or something like that would maybe be something that I would consider subscribing to if maybe one of the features is, hey, you don't have to watch the commercials, that kind of thing. So, go with it for a month or something like that. I also did see that it looks like one of the shows. Now, I've decided to go with Netflix for a month because I wanted to do Cobra Kai season 6 episode part 2, as they do them in batches of 5. The first 5 was part 1, the second batch is part 2, and the third batch, which is the final of the series, and season 6 is part 3. and that comes out in February. So I went with Netflix because I wanted to binge watch them when they came out and then cancel it. And now Squid Games is coming out December 26th, from what I remember. And oddly enough, my mom loved Squid Game, and she's 73 years old. She's probably got the same issues as far as the things that she wants to find, like myself and a lot of people, as far as to watch and what they find interesting. But she's from a different era where I talk about the big three networks and UHF, and then of course cable. She's from a small town in Minnesota. They didn't have any of that. I mean, they would lucky if they had one or two. And then there's, you better go outside and play or do something, or have a club or go bowling, which I love bowling. I was seeing something. I think it was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. People were talking about going bowling. It's like, I'd love to go bowling. Bowling, I don't know. The thing about bowling is whether you do it in groups or alone. It's probably one of those things I'll be doing alone. But at some point, I don't know. Like I said, I like bowling. I don't know. I guess I figured I'd just talk about bowling in what I'm talking about. The commercialization and the things leading up going into Christmas, in terms of overall content, which I would say that the other content that I think is a bit something are the Hallmark movies, the Christmas movies. It's like it's become a niche, like Black Friday, like a lot of other things. And I'm not being negative about it. Some people just really love it. It's just, I don't know, man. It seems a lot like the same story, regurgitated, reshuffled, and done a different way. And I understand that there's, that doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, it's a month of watching Christmas movies, but I don't know. I think you could probably watch most of that stuff all year round if you really have a hankering for this type of stuff. And like I said, it's not all bad. I mean, but when I say that a lot of it's the same, I mean, they call, like, I think it was Lacey Chabert. I can't. I'm probably chopping. Chabert. She was on Party of Five or something. So many years back, I remember when she was a cute kid and stuff like that. But she's a cute kid. She's my age. But when Cameras Cannon Burr. She's another queen of the, I guess, Christmas movie romance things. Like I said, which isn't bad. It's just, I mean, someone's got to have something to watch. These actors got to make a paycheck somehow. I mean, and I'm not saying that as laughing at it. It's just, things in entertainment are rough. A lot of competition. A lot of the same dollar, the same pie, not going as far as it once did in terms of who gets a piece of it and how much. So, but I think going into Christmas, these are the things that pretty much are on my mind. As far as trying to find some Christmas movies to binge watch. And if you haven't tried doing that, and I'm sure a lot of people have, you got National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation on one, you got the Santa Claus on another streaming network, and then it's like, unless you have probably about $120 worth of streaming services that you use only for an occasional thing that you would, what you once upon a time could maybe have in a video library or something like that, which people aren't buying much of that kind of content either. But I do think that's going to make a comeback or become an even bigger thing as the 2025 comes along. And so I am doing some predictions as far as the coming year and that sort of thing, and do a vlog about that. But yeah, that's my feeling going into this Christmas season in terms of what I'm looking for. I mean, everything is on winter break, man. I don't actually remember. Yeah, they probably did winter breaks in the 80s and 90s to some extent, but it's very pronounced now. And like I said, the commercials, it seems really that mostly to find commercials or to find shows requires a lot of commercials. And like I said, as far as content is concerned, yeah, I think there has to be a better way, and I'm gonna find it. I am definitely babbling now. That's gonna do it for this video voiceover. And these are the thoughts I'm having on this 11th of December going into the Christmas season. If you're listening to this and, you agree with me, or maybe say, no, you got a different take, write it in the comments section and below if you like. And even better yet, if you want to make your own video, maybe set the record straight, or, maybe some things that I hadn't noticed that you have. Go ahead and, send it to me. I'll respond. But until next time, this is going to be what it is. All right, guys, take care.